I used to absolutely love the Tenet Envoy. It was my go-to gun for a very, very long time. But I've always struggled to make it work well enough whilst retaining my enjoyment of the gun. Essentially, I do not enjoy the builds that make this gun work. But we've gotten a plethora of new mods and arcanes and all kinds of good stuff, so maybe, just maybe, I can finally make this weapon work in Steel Path with a build that I actually enjoy. The Tenet Envoy is one of the Briefcase weapons, which means it reloads while holstered, but it also has a 4-second reload time as a result. Yikes. It fires rockets that do 100 impact damage on, well, impact, and then 640 cold damage in an 8-meter explosion, which is quite big, though that does come with a sharp 80% fall off. And it sports a 28% crit chance, a 2.6 times crit multiplier, as well as a 24% status chance. Now, because this is a Tenet weapon, the only way to get it is by vanquishing a Sister of Parvos that's wielding it. And now, I unfortunately got an impact-based one because I forgot to switch away from Wukong when spawning the Sister, so this is gonna be kind of like the worst version of the gun, and I would highly recommend you get something else. For the build that we're gonna be running in this video, heat or electricity are gonna be best. So let's give it a shot, shall we? Good god, this is such an old build. Yeah, this desperately needs an upgrade. I, rather unfortunately, have an impact-based one, so the explosion does cold and impact, which is unideal, to say the least. One thing I want to try is Primary Frostbite. This will give us a ton of extra crit damage and multi-shot. We have to run Serration, let's get Galvanized Chamber in there as well. We're most definitely not gonna use Aptitude. The most sensible thing would be Corrosive, like so, and then cold with, I need to swap these around a little bit, like so, corrosive and cold. Critical delay for the crit chance, this unfortunately lowers our fire rate, and we want Vital Sense for the crit damage. Okay, let's see if this is any good. Actually solid enough damage, surprising, somewhat surprised. We do have Harold with us. But I think we're gonna have to add some reload speed. I mean, look at 4 seconds. That is just sickening. I would perhaps hesitate more to use this if we were running Merciless for the reload, but without it, there's just no question. And I'm not gonna use the holstering. Also, while we're here, we might as well put on, let's cancel that. Vigilante Supplies this is actually quite good because we use both halves of the mod. We utilize the mutation as well as the set bonus. Yep. Vital makes way more sense on Harold. That is pretty good, my dudes and dudettes. Pretty good. The single target is never gonna be great, but that's kind of to be expected. One thing we could do is swap out the dual stats for 90% elementals, which would give us more damage. But it's only 30% per mod, and I don't think that's worth losing the status, honestly. It's a shame we can't fit in Primed Firestorm. Well, I guess if you don't mind the reload, you could swap it with Primed Fast Hands, I suppose. Okay, I just wanted to make sure that you cannot indeed run Cannonade, which is a bit of a shame. This would actually be a good option as well, instead of Primed Fast Hands, because that will give you both crit multi and status. So that's actually really good for damage. Let's actually do a run so you can see how this looks. Yep. Hammer Shot definitely rocks. So if you don't mind the reload and you don't need to run Firestorm, Hammer Shot is a good pick as well. Sadly, I cannot stand the reload, so Prime Fast Hands goes back in. Alright, let us see what to do. This is a rather high level bounty actually. They're around level 200 and it seems to be about the limit of what this setup can do. It's feeling a bit anemic on some of the beefier units. It's not bad, but I'm not loving it. Let's try something a little bit easier. Kind of the same story, honestly. It's not really blowing my mind. Most of the enemies take 2 shots, either because of armor or shields. It's not really tickling me in quite the right way, I must say. Oh my god, what? Of all the things, like of all the bloody things, it's gonna be fantastic against an Acolyte. I am baffled. I'm gonna try Hunter Munitions, but with Frostbite instead, so we will keep cold instead of vital. I would love to have some upfront damage, so that stays. And we top it off with what? Probably Elementalist. In you go, buddy. It seems pretty decent, the upfront damage is solid. But the other build seemed really good in the Simulacrum as well, so let's go into a mission and try it there. Let's see if this is any better then. I honestly can't tell much of a difference. It feels pretty much the same, but it is stronger, like it is objectively stronger because most enemies take 2 hits, but a lot of the time you don't actually have to fire the second shot because the enemies will die from the bleed proc. Still pretty solid versus the Acolyte. I'm loving the code procs, as always. Slowing the Acolytes down with code is top notch. Get this out of my face, I just don't like it. I just don't like it. So we're gonna try one more thing, okay? This is weird, but I want to try Primary Crux. It does actually work, but only on direct hits to the head. I was hoping the AoE explosion could maybe clip their weak points and stack it, but no, you do have to get direct hits, which is kind of annoying. Let's try Blast and Electricity for a little bit. It definitely works. Damage is actually pretty good. And we're not stripping their armor. Like, yeah, this does work, though. Having to get direct headshots with a rocket launcher seems rather silly, does it not? If you want to, you can do this, but I think I'm actually gonna go back to Merciless for the reload speed so I don't have to run Blind Fast Hands. Run High Voltage instead, which bolsters our electricity if we do it right. There we go. Now we're getting somewhere. This is actually feeling quite nice. Am I being stupid? This does seem like it's pretty good. Because you get 230% from there. So it's 3 rockets plus a 30% chance for a 4th one. This gives you a 90% chance to get a 4th one. And you get the set bonus. This is definitely the best one of the bunch so far. Like, the reload is, you know, it is what it is. But, oh, look at this. Oh, yes! The damage is there. The damage is most definitely there. This is promising. I actually like this. I'm so dumb. Oh my god, of course. Hammer shot, baby. That's the way to do it. Look at that. Finally, a build that I enjoy. That clear steel path. The single target is a bit wonky, which is to be expected kind of. But, oh well, it is what it is. But the AoE is tremendous. Finally. So after almost 4 hours of faffing around with different setups on the Tenet Envoy, we arrived at this build right here. We're running Thermite rounds and Rime rounds for blast and status chance, high voltage for electricity and status chance, critical delay for crit chance, vital sense for crit damage, hammer shot for more crit damage and additional status chance, rifle elementalist for status chance, and then galvanized chamber for multi-shot. We're also running Vigilante supplies in the Exilus for the ammo mutation and set bonus, and for our arcane we just stuck to Primary Merciless for the base damage and reload speed. One thing that's kinda huge for this setup is a pet that can run a gun, because then you can utilize the gun to get yourself the Vigilante set bonus for your primary. I'm using the Hellstrom on my Nichus Moa, which runs 3 Vigilante mods as well as a bunch of mods that help with priming Vital and Heat. Finally, I have a good Tenet Envoy setup that I enjoy and I can use in Steel Path. The single target is a bit wonky and it would be better if we were to run Hunter Munitions, but you know what? I'm happy with it. This is more than good enough for me. And I also think it's good enough for you guys as well. So yes, I would absolutely recommend you give this a shot. And as always guys, I thank you very much for watching and I hope you've enjoyed the video. Then I would also like to extend a special thank you to all the channel members. Thank you very much guys. I really appreciate your support. It means a lot to me. And I'll see you next time. Bye bye.